My sister-in-law stormed into our house shouting that she was going to host Christmas there, whether we liked it or not. When I refused, she went ahead and invited the entire family anyway. However, her reaction to our surprise vacation plans left her completely speechless. First, a little context. My wife Mariana and I live in a quiet suburban neighborhood just outside Chicago. Our house is comfortable and spacious, but nothing extravagant. Bianca, my sister-in-law, seems to think otherwise. Ever since I've known her, she's been a real nuisance. She's the kind of person who doesn't ask for things, she simply imposes them. If you disagree, she steamrolls right over you as if your opinion doesn't matter. Mariana has always struggled to stand up to her, so most of the time I'm the one who ends up setting boundaries. But this time, Bianca truly outdid herself. Mariana and I had already decided that we wouldn't be hosting Christmas at home this year. For the past 2 years, we opened our home to the entire family, both hers and mine. And while I love Christmas, hosting everyone is exhausting. It's not just the food, though that alone is a lot, but also the cleaning, the organizing, making sure everyone is comfortable, and above all, keeping the peace among relatives who always end up arguing. After last year's disaster, when Bianca loudly announced in front of everyone that my turkey was too dry and insisted we should order takeout while I was still carving it, I told Mariana I wouldn't do it again. She agreed. We planned to take a short trip somewhere warm, just the two of us, and escape the chaos. But apparently, Bianca had other plans. One Saturday morning, about 2 months before Christmas, I was outside trimming the hedges when I heard Mariana's voice inside the house. She wasn't yelling, but her tone was sharp, a clear sign of frustration. I went in out of curiosity and found Bianca standing in the middle of the living room, arms crossed, talking to Mariana as if she were a child being scolded. "I'm going to host Christmas here this year," Bianca announced. "It makes sense, your house is bigger and everyone is already used to coming here." Mariana stood there, stunned. "Bianca, we're not hosting Christmas at home this year. In fact, we're planning to travel." "That's ridiculous," Bianca replied, waving her hand dismissively. "You can't just decide not to do Christmas. What is everyone supposed to do?" Mariana opened her mouth to respond, but Bianca continued. "Mom's house is too small and my apartment doesn't have space. You have the place. It's not a big deal. You don't even have to do anything. I'll handle everything." That's when I stepped in. "Bianca," I said firmly, "we are not hosting Christmas here. Period. We've already decided." She turned to me, narrowing her eyes. "Why are you being so selfish? Christmas is about family. Are you really going to abandon us?" "I'm not being selfish," I replied. "We hosted Christmas the last 2 years. It's someone else's turn now." "Well, you should have said something earlier," she snapped. "Now it's too late. I've already started planning everything." I stared at her. "Planning what? We didn't agree to anything." She threw her hands up in the air. "You're being impossible. I'll figure it out myself." And with that, she stormed out. I thought that would be the end of it. I assumed Bianca would be upset for a bit and then move on. I was completely wrong. A few days later, Mariana's mom sent her a message. "So exciting. Christmas at your house again. Bianca said you're hosting this year." Mariana read the message out loud, and I couldn't help but laugh. "This is a joke, right?" Mariana immediately called Bianca. "Why is Mom saying we're hosting Christmas?" she asked. "Oh, I already told everyone," Bianca replied, as if she'd done us a favor. "I knew you'd change your minds. Don't worry, I'll handle the guest list and the menu." "Bianca, we are not hosting anything," Mariana said firmly. "You can't back out now," she replied. "I already told everyone. They're expecting it. You'll ruin Christmas for the entire family if you cancel." Mariana tried to argue, but Bianca hung up before she could finish. Over the next week, we started receiving messages from other relatives, all assuming the dinner would be at our house. Bianca made sure everyone believed the plan was confirmed. By that point, I was furious. She completely ignored us, went behind our backs, and dragged the entire family into her plan. Mariana was stressed, her parents were confused, and I had had enough. I'm not letting her get away with this, I told her. So what are we going to do? She asked. I have an idea, I replied. Mariana looked at me suspiciously. What are you planning? Trust me. I spent the next few weeks putting my plan into motion while Bianca continued organizing her version of Christmas, sending group messages about the menu and assigning dishes. Mariana and I stayed silent, neither confirming nor denying anything. Meanwhile, I booked a 5-night stay at a beachfront resort in Florida, starting the Tuesday before Christmas. When Mariana's mom called to confirm what time she should arrive, Mariana was direct. We're leaving on a trip tomorrow. But Bianca said that. I know what Bianca said, Mariana interrupted. We told her weeks ago that we weren't hosting anything. She just refused to listen. Her mom wasn't happy, but she understood. On Tuesday morning, we packed our bags, locked the house, and headed to the airport. On Wednesday night, my phone started blowing up with messages. First Bianca, where are you? The house is locked. People are coming tomorrow. Then her mom, Bianca is losing it. What's going on? I ignored the messages and took a sip of my drink. On Christmas morning, Bianca was in full meltdown mode. But for Mariana and me, the day began in the best way possible. We woke up to the sound of waves crashing on the shore, enjoyed breakfast on a sunny terrace overlooking the ocean, and made a pact not to check our phones until after lunch. We were having the best Christmas of our lives. The sun shimmered over the golden sand, ocean waves gently rolled onto the shore, and the warm Florida breeze wrapped us in a deep sense of peace and relaxation. As Mariana and I relaxed under a straw cabana, sipping ice-cold cocktails, I thought about everything we had put up with over the years. Chaotic gatherings, constant stress, and ungrateful relatives. For the first time, we were doing something just for ourselves. We were far away from the drama, far from suffocating expectations, and most importantly, far away from Bianca, or so we thought. After a hearty breakfast at the hotel, we decided to spend the entire day at the beach. We kayaked through crystal-clear waters, then sunbathed until we nearly fell asleep. Later, while enjoying drinks at the beachfront bar, my phone vibrated in my pocket. I ignored it. That day was for relaxing, not worrying about what might be happening back home. But it vibrated again. I sighed and checked my phone. There was a flood of messages from our neighbor, Samuel. Hey, is everything okay? Your house is a mess. There are a bunch of people inside and the noise is insane. My stomach dropped. Mariana immediately noticed my expression. What's wrong? Samuel says there are people in our house. Her eyes widened. What do you mean there are people? I opened more messages. I think someone broke in. The music is blasting. There's shouting, people coming in and out. I went over to knock and ask what was going on, but some guy I don't recognize said everything was fine and slammed the door in my face. I looked at Mariana. It's Bianca. She covered her face with her hands. No way. How would she have gotten in? I was sure we had locked everything. The alarm was on. There was no way Bianca could have just walked in. Unless. I called Samuel. He answered immediately. Man, your house is a disaster. I was about to call the police, but I wanted to let you know first. Did you see how they got in? I'm not sure, but it looks like someone had a key. My blood began to boil. Bianca had once had a copy of an old key, but we had changed the locks during a renovation. That meant she had gotten in some other way. Samuel, can you see who's inside? Don't get yourself in trouble, just tell me if Bianca is there. Give me a second. I stared at my phone, furious. Mariana nervously fiddled with her straw. Minutes later, Samuel sent me a photo. It was our living room, or what was left of it. People sprawled across the couches, dirty plates piled up, beer bottles on the floor. And right in the center, laughing with a drink in her hand, was Bianca. Mariana snatched the phone from me. I can't believe this. They broke into our house and are throwing a Christmas party. I felt a rage I had never felt before. I immediately called Bianca. She picked up after a few seconds. "Oh, now you're calling, huh?" she said irritably. "You're in my house. Stop being dramatic," she continued. "You didn't want to host dinner, so I fixed the problem." "You fixed the problem?" I shouted. "You broke into my house. How the hell did you get in?" "Relax. Mom had an old key, remember? I just changed the lock again. It was easy. I called a locksmith." My heart nearly burst out of my chest. "You changed the lock on my house? It's not a big deal. You left and abandoned the whole family without a Christmas dinner. What did you expect me to do? That wasn't our problem." "Oh, stop exaggerating. Everyone's having a great time. You should be thanking me." I was shaking with anger. "Get out of there right now. Calm down, we're almost done cleaning anyway. We'll leave at the end of the night. You're not even here." She laughed. "Well then, come kick me out." And she hung up. I was on the verge of exploding. "We're leaving," I told Mariana. "What? But the trip. I'm not letting this psycho destroy our house." We bought tickets for the next flight to Chicago. A few hours after landing, we took a taxi straight home. My heart was pounding with fury and frustration. When we arrived, the scene was even worse than Samuel had described. The street was packed with cars, beer cans littered the yard, and the music was still blasting. I pushed on the door, but it was locked. I rang the doorbell and banged hard. Bianca opened the door, clearly annoyed. "What's your problem?" "My problem is that you're in my house." I shoved the door open and walked in. Mariana followed me. The living room was a disaster. People I didn't even know were drinking and laughing like it was a bar. "Everyone out," I shouted. Some people just stared at me, confused. "Guys, ignore him," Bianca said. "It's a family gathering." "No," I replied. "You broke into my house, changed the locks, and used a key without permission. Do you have any idea how serious this is?" She crossed her arms, uneasy. "It's not like I stole anything." "Oh, we'll see about that." I pulled out my phone and dialed. "Who are you calling?" she asked. "The police." Panic flashed across her face. "You wouldn't. Breaking into my house is a crime." The guests began rushing out as they realized this was no longer just a family argument. "Are you really going to call the police?" she said. "I'm your sister-in-law. After today, you're nothing to me." She went pale. Mariana crossed her arms. "You crossed a line. This is over." That was when Bianca realized her manipulation wasn't going to work this time. I didn't hesitate for a second. "Yes, I'd like to report a home invasion," I said into the phone. The color drained from Bianca's face. "You can't be serious," she whispered, stepping back. The few remaining guests froze. Everyone understood this was no longer a simple family conflict. It was real. And I wasn't backing down. My name is my name, and the person who broke into my house is my sister-in-law, Bianca," I said firmly as I spoke to the police dispatcher. "She entered without permission, changed the locks without authorization, and is throwing an illegal party." As I explained the situation, Bianca started shaking her head and laughing nervously. "You can't do this, it's Christmas," she said. "I don't care what day it is," I replied. "You trespassed into my home. Mom is going to kill you," she muttered, looking around for support. But no one defended her. Everyone looked uncomfortable. Some were already grabbing their coats and leaving before the police arrived. "I warned you," I said, crossing my arms. Mariana stood beside me, her eyes burning with anger. She didn't say a word, but I knew she was with me. When the sirens could be heard in the distance, Bianca realized the situation was real. "You can't do this to me. I'm family." You stopped being family the moment you entered my house without permission. Desperate, she looked at Mariana. You're going to let him do this? Mariana took a deep breath. You left us no choice. When the officers came in, Bianca tried to pretend it was all just a misunderstanding. She put on a show, claiming it was nothing more than a family argument, not an actual crime. But the police weren't fooled. Is the house in your name, sir? One of them asked. Yes. Did Ms. Bianca have permission to be here? No. The officers turned to her. Ma'am, you'll need to come with us. Bianca panicked. This is insane. They're the selfish ones. They abandoned us on Christmas. The officers ignored her shouting and escorted her toward the exit. Before leaving, Bianca shot me one last look full of hatred. Mom and Dad will never forgive you for this. Good luck explaining why I spent Christmas in jail. When they finally took her away, a heavy silence fell over the house. The mess was still there, cups on the floor, dirty plates, trash everywhere. Even so, I felt a sense of freedom I hadn't experienced in years. The next morning, as expected, the calls began. The first one was from Mariana's mother. You put your own sister-in-law in jail? No. The police arrested her for breaking into my house. That's an exaggeration. It was just a Christmas dinner. No. It was trespassing. There were a few seconds of silence, then she exploded again. You don't understand what you did. She spent the night in jail. Maybe next time she thinks about entering a house that isn't hers, she'll think twice. She scoffed, frustrated. She was just trying to keep the tradition alive. Mariana took the phone. Whose tradition is that? Because it's never been ours. Her mother didn't answer. She hung up without saying goodbye. But that was only the beginning. Calls and messages came from everywhere, uncles, cousins, family friends. Everyone wanted to know why we did it, why we didn't handle it another way. Some messages were full of anger, others tried to manipulate us with guilt. Are you happy now? Bianca is devastated. No matter what she did, sending her to jail on Christmas was too much. The most surprising part was that, despite all the complaints, no one actually did anything to get her out sooner. Bianca spent 2 days in custody before being released. 2 days that were enough to completely humiliate her. From that moment on, I never received another message from her. The months that followed were tense with the family. Mariana had several uncomfortable conversations with her parents, but over time the issue slowly faded. Bianca, on the other hand, disappeared completely. Not a call. Not a message. When the next Christmas came around, we made a clear decision. We would only invite the people who truly mattered. We hosted a quiet dinner with those closest to us. The table was full, but without excess. There were no arguments, no complaints about the food, no stress, just laughter, pleasant conversations, and a relaxed atmosphere. Something we hadn't experienced in years. Bianca spent that Christmas alone. I heard about it from a distant cousin. She tried to organize something with friends, but no one showed up. No one wanted to be associated with the Christmas scandal, as the family continued to call it. In the years that followed, we kept our tradition. Every Christmas was small, warm, and sincere, always shared with people who truly valued our company. It always ended well. As for Bianca, all we ever heard was that year after year she spent the holidays alone. No one wanted to risk another Christmas with the police involved. Eventually, her name stopped being mentioned. And I never again had to endure manipulation, guilt, or pressure just for wanting to enjoy a holiday in peace. In the end, after everything, we got what we wanted most. Our freedom. What would you have done in my place? Leave it in the comments.